Well, g'day everybody. So this is a pretty basic tracker update. I just went to use our Be Live system at 9 o'clock, so 7 minutes ago, and of course it all failed. There's something going wrong. I can't... Anyway, I won't bore you with those details, and then we were just thinking, what are we going to do? We won't do it, and then I thought, okay, ETA threw a suggestion in saying, oh, maybe we could use the gimbal and all that stuff. So this is like as if we're watching a boat come in, but we're not watching a boat come in. We're watching the screen of the tracker, and I'm actually here. Some will remember what that means. Fingers on the screen. We did all that in the GGR in 2018, and I think it's working. So I used to point on here and do all sorts of stuff. So anyway, I'll try not to knock the gimbal, and I think this might work. There's not going to be many people there. I appreciate that because there's only a couple of boats left, but the story of Evrika and Sterner is really quite interesting. So for now, I'll just juggle this a bit and see what happens here. Yeah, there we go. Come back to real-time weather today, and oh, I'm shouting because I'm on top of the camera. So Godspeed doing 7 knots, doing pretty well. That'd be really pleasant sailing conditions. They've got a northeasterly, or well, east of northeasterly breeze there. They're coming down quite nicely, so and that breeze looks pretty consistent. Explorer has also been doing the same, but if Mark knew what the weather was doing, I'm certain he wouldn't be going to the east. He'd be going southeast as fast as he could go, because there's some headwinds coming, and he probably doesn't know it yet. And the same as I described last night, this is where the wind's rolling over to go around the center of this funny distorted center of the high. There's Cape Town over here. So at the moment, they're doing pretty well. And this is at 4, 5, 6. Oh, jeepers. Okay, this is old, I think. So I'm just going to reboot it. Seeing we've got plenty of time, there's not many people here. We could get a fresher update, I think. So we'll come right in from the very beginning, and we'll put the wind on here, kick that in, and I'm going to put the grids on so you can see where 40 south is. This is where 40 south is. That's where the Explorer needs to be to keep kicking it around. And I'll pick this up one more time to show you what's going on. So yeah, Explorer doing 7.4 knots, 800 odd miles to go, and they did about 170 miles in the day, which is not too bad. Godspeed, 7 knots as well, did 132 miles in the day, and making steady progress. So that's all pretty cool. We'll forget about the other guys that are about to enter Cape Town, and we'll just look at the weather here. If we push this on a bit, that's by 5 o'clock tomorrow. You can see Explorer then is on full-on headwinds, it's just directly easterly. So they'll obviously then head down and start heading southeast. So they'll come down here while they can, but then you'll see, and Godspeed doesn't matter, they've got that pretty well, and the more it swings around, they're just going to go due south, which is the smartest thing for them to do. So if I push this forward till lunchtime tomorrow, and the wind you can see is actually starting to come in from the southeast, so that'll push them back. There's no point in heading south because they'll end up heading backwards. They'll be heading, a bit of westerly in it, and you can't do that. So that's right on the transition there. So by tomorrow, by midday tomorrow, they're going to be on starboard tack and losing what southing they gained as they come up here in a northeasterly direction, if this graphic is correct. So it's not a good look for Explorer. There it is again. It's just holding as they go into the next day on the 31st. There's definitely a southeasterly component there. So the best they'll be doing is coming up here, which is not the best place to be, but that's all they can do. Godspeed, on the other hand, will be coming down here nicely, getting southing and so on. So that's all pretty cool. And if we keep it going a little bit further into the first, so there we go again. It's still holding the same. It's basically a southeasterly. So that's through the first. If we say they're doing 160 mile days, that's what have we got, 29, 30, 31, there's 2 days. So 2 days, that's 300 miles ahead. Let's just see what 300 looks like. 270. Okay, so by the time we've got this kind of weather, they're going to be over here, which is a southeasterly, and they'll be struggling to get up in this direction by that stage. So that's on day 2. And we're into to the 1st of November. So this is coming into day 3. Is the wind changing a bit? Yeah, it's actually starting to go distinctly southeast. And so that means, yeah, they'll still be heading up. They're going to end up following this track here, which is the worst you can possibly have going into Cape Town, unless there is a bit of a low coming. And it looks like if we start pushing this through, they might get a jump, but we're not going to see them for some time. So Godspeed might get hooked up in some of this stuff as well. But the good news is wherever Explorer is by the 3rd of November, which should be over here, it's the southerly. And with the southerly, they should be able to head to the east. And this low pressure system forming here, I really hope that happens, because if it does, it'll give them a chance to roll over the top of that and just sail straight into Cape Town. But would they make it by the 5th? I doubt it. Here we go. That's the 3rd, 4th. Still really good. Southerly, they can reach across on that. You know, they may just have a break to get there by the 5th, but let's just wait and see. So that's pretty much Explorer and Godspeed. Back here, that wasn't their ETA, it was just a bit of a play on words. Let's see what's going on here. Poor Evrika and poor Sterner. It's the story here is pretty self-explanatory. This is exactly what you try not to do. They you know, I'm not going to say they weren't far enough south, but I'll put it a different direction. If they were further south when these big winds started, they do like Tapio did. You know, you can just, if you were down here with these winds, you look at their course now going up in that direction, that means they needed to be down here, and then they could be just coming up here and straight into Cape Town. It's what we talk about, where it's important to get down here onto the 40th parallel and then head up like that. But unfortunately, they got hooked up in big winds. They hove to there. You can see they drifted back on that one. And the wind started to back off, but then it fluctuated and came back over the top of them. So Evrika's had some heavy weather. But right now, they're looking a lot better, 5 knots, but they're just about coming out to the east. So there's got a bit of tacking to do. Sterner was the same. You probably saw the story. Sterner had a big wave over the back of the boat. It activated one of the PLBs for one of the crew. It was a false alarm. And then this, we got that sorted pretty well straight away. And Evrika had this hove to situation. But anyway, they're getting closer, and it's a bit hard to predict the ETA. As you can see what happened to Sterner, they got tacking now. The wind's coming directly from Cape Town. Same with Evrika, but Evrika's holding pretty high there. So maybe they are going to. I'm feeding a lot of people the ETA to get everything ready for ribs and times to get up in the morning. And I was saying it could be as early as really early in the morning, but I'm hoping it's going to be a civilized hour. So let's just build that up again a bit more and make some assumptions here on exactly what may happen. The first thing is, what are they doing? So Evrika's now doing 5 knots, 32 nautical miles to go. Now that's 32 miles direct to Cape Town, but they can't do that because that's where the wind's coming. So by the look of this wind, they're holding pretty high. So they've got to tack along here. And then when they go back the other way, they're probably going to come straight down here, right? They should be able to manage that. And then from there, they'll tack across there. So if that was the case, let's go for the approximate distance. So say they tack right across to here. There's 15 miles, or 16 miles. So and that's probably the night time, that's probably as far as I get, 17 miles. Then the leg down here is probably going to have to be around about there. So that's 22, say 23 and 17. So that's nearly 40 miles. And then coming back the other way across there, that's another 10. So that's about 50 miles. So even though Evrika is saying they've got 32 miles to go, tacking, if the wind direction holds at that, is about 50 miles. They're making 5 knots. So that's about 10 hours from now. It's currently 9 o'clock local time, 12, so that's about 7 o'clock in the morning. So it looks like it's going to be an early morning if all this holds. So then what's going to happen to the weather? I'll forget about Sterner for a minute, and we'll do the same thing again. So if we go watch the weather for 10 hours, there's 2, 3, 4. First thing that happens is that was a swing. I'll go back to where it was. There's you can see the wind here. Oh, I use my finger again. Ooh, here it comes. It's coming, there'll be a few GGR people laughing if they're seeing this, from the southeast in this direction, okay? And now when we push it through, That should be bouncing. Yeah, every hour you can see it swinging across to the east. So now the wind out there's the east. It completely mucks up the entire plan, because when that happens, if they get over here, they can drop straight down instead of going back a bit. So it could save them a bit of time. But then by the time we get to 8:30 in the morning, it's back to the southeast again and it's gone quiet. So I just want to see how that's backing off a bit. That's backing off 5 o'clock. And that's 5, 6, 7, that's 7:30 in the morning. They could come all the way in that easterly, so they could actually be there early. It all changes. I'm trying to get some sleep, so is everyone else. I'll have to update this all during the night. So Evrika could arrive any time from about 5 o'clock in the morning till about 10 o'clock in the morning, because the wind's going to die off a little bit. You can see there, but that might be later. She could come in earlier than later. So I'm going to have to tell the troops, be aware, could get in by 6 o'clock in the morning. And we need to be ready to go. All right, so that's Evrika. What's happening to Sterna? So we come back here. She looks like she's running into that island, but she'll know it's there. Let's come up here and have a look. Oop, jeepers. That's interesting. That's very interesting. I'm not sure why she would be. Well, there's a big moon. Okay, and normally I would say, oop, what's going on there? Jeepers. I'm not worried. I'm just saying that's interesting. They'll tack out of there very soon. So that's 9:15. So, that's 9:15 local time. So that's just in the last few minutes. And that's very close to the island, going into the bay. I can't imagine them going in there to anchor. They're probably just working the calm weather. They'll have a good handle on that. They'll be working their echo sounder, no doubt, to follow that up. I'm not sure what the contours are there, but they'll know they're going into that bay for sure. And as I say, there's a big moon out there, so I'm assuming there's blue sky here, so the moon would highlight the whole thing. So watch this space. So what are they going to do to get to Cape Town? Well, let's just pull this back, bearing in mind they may still be sailing under mainsail only, but head sails only, because they've got a broken gooseneck apparently. 6.6 knots. Yep, they'll have to get out of there. I've just got to now pick the weather back in here. Get windy back in. So, okay, that pretty much sets it. So we'll forget the island, we'll make out it doesn't exist, and we will do a distance on that and just add a little bit of a fudge factor there. So I need to push that back one. And let's say they can go down to here. They'll be able to hold that course. Normally there's 17 miles. Then to go back, they're probably going to go back about here. 17 miles, there's 15 miles. You can see the difference here because they're higher to windward. So 17, 15, so that's 32. And then they've got to do another one if the weather holds, but it's not. It's going to go to the east. So 32, 42, so they've got about 50 miles as well to go, roughly. 6 nights, well, let's say that's another 10 hours, so they could be early in the morning as well. So I will put their ETA, and bearing in mind, we'll just, you can see how this varies. If that wind shifts a bit more, then they could start coming direct, which could knock a couple of hours off. It's very hard to predict the ETAs here, so I'll have to update again at 4 o'clock and just in case. So what are we saying? We're saying Evrika could get in, around 5 o'clock in the morning or something, and Sterna could be half an hour behind or half an hour in front, about the same time. Or it could go through until 10 o'clock in the morning. So, but it'll absolutely be sometime in the morning. Okay, I can't see the Facebook comments, so I can't answer any questions. We will absolutely have these guys in tomorrow, touch wood, so all will be left is Explorer and Godspeed. So we may not even do a tracker update just for those every day. We'll just come back when we think there's something relevant happening. So certainly the tracker updates are winding down. Okay, that's it. So we'll see you maybe not necessarily tomorrow, maybe the day after or something like that, but we'll keep you up on both